Guys, how's it going? TJ here with Dead History, and I'm here today with Mr. Henry.
Hello.
And today is our next installment of our Declaration of Independence Signer series. And today, we're taking a look at the guy behind us. Who is it, Henry?
JosephHewes.
That's right, JosephHewes from the state of?
North Carolina.
North Carolina, our second signer from the state of North Carolina.
Yes.
We got some cool things to tell you about JosephHewes, but first, before we get into this next declaration signer, Henry, what do the people have to do?
Hit subscribe down below, leave all your comments, questions, hit the thumbs up, and hit the notification button.
There you go, you got it. Subscribe down below, hit it, likes, comments, questions, thumbs up, all that stuff. Do it all, and then of course, like he said, hit that little notification bell so you can be notified when we do release a new video. And Henry, when is that?
Every single week.
It's every single week, he's right. So here we go. Next Declaration of Independence Signer Series installment looking at JosephHewes from North Carolina. And this is
Dead History.
Dead History. Guys, how's it going? TJ back with you, here with Mr. Henry.
Hello.
Henry today sporting his Zachary Taylor Project shirt. If you guys don't know about the Zachary Taylor Project, go check it out. It's on Instagram, Zachary Taylor Project. Really, really cool Instagram site. And I think there's a website too, but it's a really cool thing, so go check it out. They're not sponsoring us or anything. They're just good friends, so we wanted to give them a shout out, right? There you go. So, today, as we said, our next installment of this Declaration of Independence Signer series, man behind us, JosephHewes from North Carolina. And Henry, let's see if we can quiz Henry. Where was JosephHewes born?
New Jersey.
He was born in New Jersey. Very good. Only about 30 or 40 minutes from where we're at right now in Princeton, New Jersey. So pretty cool stuff. He spent the early part of his life in New Jersey, and then eventually he moved his way down to North Carolina. In fact, his parents and his family were Quakers. Yeah, we're going to tell you all about that, right? So pretty cool stuff. So North Carolina signer, our second one, JosephHewes. So they did the likes, they did the subscribes, comments, questions, notification bell, they did it all. Now what do they got to go get, Henry?
We'll get the popcorn, the pretzels, the potato chips.
What else? Juice, water, soda, whatever, right? I mean, it's Christmas time. Maybe the Christmas cookies? Yeah, right? Here we go. Go get the snacks. Get ready, because here we go. JosephHewes from North Carolina, our next Declaration of Independence signer. Dead History, we're excited, right? Guy from New Jersey, from our home state of New Jersey. Well, technically, you were born in Montana, but we live in New Jersey, right? There you go. So, pretty cool stuff. Here we go. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey guys, how's it going? TJ here with Dead History, and welcome to our next installment of our Declaration of Independence Signer series, as we're taking a look at JosephHewes from North Carolina. Yep, that's right, JosephHewes, our second North Carolina signer. We only actually have one more after Hewes, so kind of moving right along here through the state of North Carolina. Have some very interesting things to share with you about JosephHewes. Of course, this part one today is going to be about his early life, his childhood, where he was born, schooling, education, all that kind of thing, of course, leading basically all the way up to the time of the Declaration of Independence signing. And then tomorrow in part two, we'll take a look at his life, legacy, time after signing the Declaration, his death, his burial site, all of that stuff, of course, tomorrow in part two. I will be flying solo for the audio portion here of this part one. Henry is not with me. So I think without further ado, as they say, let's just get right into it. Let's jump right in. Our Declaration of Independence signer series Joseph Hewes. Here we go. As a signer of the Declaration of Independence, Joseph Hewes, with more than 20 years' experience as a sailing merchant dealing with Britain, made some outstanding contributions to the founding of the nation. This has been somewhat ignored in history because he had no direct line descendants. Joseph Hewes was born on January 23rd of 1730 at Maybury Hill, an estate on the outskirts of Princeton, New Jersey. He was the son of Aaron Hewes and Providence Worth. His parents were Quaker by faith and successful farmers in one of the settlements of the Connecticut colony. The original Hewes line emigrated to Pennsylvania from England about 1635. Aaron and Providence were married in Connecticut in 1728. Indian massacres and the religious intolerance of Quakers remaining among the Puritans of New England forced them to move to New Jersey to find a more peaceful and secure environment. They settled in an estate named Maybury Hill and occupied it from 1730 to 1755. The original house was a small two-story stone structure with a gable roof. A short distance away, at the northeast corner, stood a detached kitchen building. When Joseph Hewes was 5 years old in 1735, the main house burned but was rebuilt. Other major additions were made in 1753. The house now provides a fine example of Georgian architecture. It was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1971. In 1993 and 94, the building was restored and a frame wing was added to the north side. It is in Mercer County, New Jersey, Princeton, New Jersey to be exact, at 346 Snowden Lane. Little is known of Joseph's early life, except that he, like most Quaker children, helped with the farm work. He received a strict religious upbringing in the Quaker family and had a public education. At a proper age, he became a member of Princeton College and after graduation was placed in the counting house of a gentleman at Philadelphia to be educated as a merchant. When his term of apprenticeship ended, he decided to go into the mercantile business on his own. It was not long before he had made a small fortune. At the age of 30, Joseph Hewes moved to North Carolina. Before this move, he had been residing at New York and Philadelphia alternately, with visits to his friends in New Jersey. He moved to Wilmington, North Carolina in 1760 and established a prosperous shipping and mercantile business. He later moved to Edenton, North Carolina in 1763, where his business interest continued to prosper. In Edenton, might be Edenton, but I believe it's pronounced Edenton, but if anybody from North Carolina can tell me, maybe it's Edenton. It's either Edenton or Edenton, North Carolina. But in Edenton, his shipping business was located on the corner of Main and King Streets. He formed a partnership there with Robert Smith, a lawyer, and the firm soon owned a wharf and their own ships. His first ship was named Providence after his mother. He became engaged to Isabella Johnston. She was a sister of Samuel Johnston, who served as one of North Carolina's governors. Unfortunately, she died shortly before the date of their wedding. Joseph Hewes never married and remained a bachelor the rest of his life. After her death, Joseph Hewes continued to be a steadfast friend of the Johnston family. Joseph Hewes sustained a reputation as a man of honor. He acquired the confidence and esteem of the people among whom he lived. Within 3 years after his arrival in Edenton, Hewes was so highly regarded that he was elected to membership in the assembly called to represent them in the colonial legislature of the province. He served from 1766 until that body ceased meeting in 1775. So I did actually research and look it up. It is pronounced Edenton, North Carolina. So I was correct. Edenton, North Carolina. Also, as always, I'm going to be reading from several different sources. Try not to repeat myself too much for you guys. However, there is some discrepancy, so everyone knows right off the bat, about his parents ever migrating or moving from Connecticut. So that is kind of a little bit of a controversy, and you'll kind of see when I read some more from different sources. Joseph Hewes, merchant, colonial leader, delegate to the Continental Congress, and signer of the Declaration of Independence, was raised at Maybury Hill. It was the family's 400-acre plantation near Kingston, West Jersey. He was the oldest son of Aaron and Providence Worth Hewes. Young Hewes inherited many traditions that would serve him well throughout life. The more important of these were a love of the land, a belief in the duty of public service, and a firm indoctrination in the Puritan ethic of diligence, hard work, and thrift as the prerequisites for success. The influence of these values can be seen in his decision to renounce his intention to enter the College of New Jersey, which later became Princeton University. Following his classical education at the Kingston Friends Grammar School in 1749 and attracted by Philadelphia's opportunities for a mercantile career, Hewes apprenticed himself to Joseph Ogden, a relative and successful merchant importer in that city. From August of 1749 to September of 1754, Joseph Hewes learned the trading business from dock laborer to cargo master. In the latter year, he turned down a partnership offered by Ogden and, aided by funds from his father's estate, established his own retail concern. Discouraged by the lack of progress, he soon began to search for a more opportune site to relocate his business. His choice was Edenton, North Carolina. Joseph Hewes arrived in Edenton in early 1755. In the spring, he entered into partnership with George Blair and Charles Worth Blount, both prominent merchants. The firm of Blount, Hewes and Company prospered, and by 1757, Joseph Hewes found time for political and civil affairs. That year, he was appointed a Justice of the Peace for Chowan County and Inspector for the Port of Roanoke. He also became an early leader in the movement to establish an academy in Edenton, a member of the building committees for the county courthouse and jail, and an official of St. Paul's Parish. By 1760, Joseph Hewes had gained a position among the elite of Edenton society. No doubt his status was enhanced by his engagement late in that year to Isabella Johnston, the younger sister of Edenton lawyer and political leader Samuel Johnston. Although Isabella's death within the year brought this relationship to a tragic end, Johnston continued to consider Hewes as a member of his family. In 1760, Johnston, who had served as Edenton's representative in the assembly since 1754, convinced Joseph Hewes to stand for the borough seat. Thus began the merchant's career in politics that would run with few interruptions until his death about 20 years later. Joseph Hewes' business ability was early recognized by his fellow representatives, and he was repeatedly appointed to appropriation and finance committees. In filling these and other committee posts, he became intimately involved in the often bitter legislative executive contests over the power to originate appropriation bills, to audit accounts of public expenditures, to issue paper currency, to collect and appropriate quitrent revenue, to determine the assembly quorum, to appoint and instruct the provincial treasurers and agents, and to structure the colony's judicial system. Although his service to the colony was exhaustive, Joseph Hewes did not neglect the interests of his constituents. From 1760 to 1774, he sponsored local bills to finance construction of a courthouse, church, and academy, to reorganize the town's court and tax system, to improve navigational aids in the Albemarle Sound and Edenton Bay, and to regulate the inspection of exports through the port of Roanoke. Although Joseph Hewes was a native of New Jersey, he was one of 3 North Carolinians to sign the Declaration of Independence. His business experience, education, and honorable character enabled the Tar Heel to serve North Carolina in public service for 13 years. He was born in 1730. Joseph Hewes grew up near Kingston, New Jersey. His parents, Aaron and Providence Hewes, belonged to the Society of Friends and moved from Connecticut to New Jersey to escape a religious prejudice. In New Jersey, Hewes received his classical education from Princeton College, and then he moved to Philadelphia, as we said. And then, of course, he, entered into an apprenticeship, and Joseph Hewes became successful and a very successful independent merchant. And, Hewes' success was not unusual for the time. The burgeoning merchant class and their increasing wealth is what actually prompted England to pass numerous tax laws originally. That's really what was going on at the time, of course. So now another source, 18th century Edenton, a pleasant little port on the North Carolina coast, could sometimes be anything but quiet. Frequently, during the last years before the Revolution, it became thoroughly upset. It had its own Tea Party, its own non-importation agreement, and its own active part in the North Carolina Committee of Correspondence. Edenton might have been pleasant, but it was not going to tolerate any violations of the rights of its people. A major force behind this strong stand was a little man who North Carolina, like the town itself, was usually, but not always, quiet. Joseph Hewes, a native of New Jersey, had come to Edenton about 1763 and set up an importing business there. By the 1770s, he was generally regarded as the town's leading citizen. So some more, again, just a bunch of different sources, of course, that I try to give you guys. Born January 23rd of 1730. He was 46 years old when he signed the Declaration. He was a merchant and shipping magnate. So just some interesting little facts about him, of course. Now, just to read a little bit on this source here. A Quaker who supported revolution, a bachelor who died with a broken heart, Joseph Hewes buried himself in his work and drove himself to an early grave. But before he checked out, he played a pivotal role in securing the vote for independence. None of the North Carolina signers were born in their adopted state. Quaker-born Joseph Hewes grew up on an estate outside Princeton, New Jersey, and eventually attended college at the future Ivy League institution. After graduation, he apprenticed to a merchant in Philadelphia and later started his own mercantile business. Around 1760, he moved down to Edenton, North Carolina, a growing seaport on the Albemarle Sound, and worked in the shipping and import-export business with his nephew, Nathaniel Allen Jr. Before long, he had a tidy little pile of money all his own. Unfortunately, he didn't have the same good luck in his personal life. The love of his life, Isabella Johnston, died just days before their wedding. Cue the violins. On the bright side, being a wealthy, single, and personable man went as far in the 1700s as it does today. So Joseph Hewes was both popular and respected. In 1766, he became involved with the Provincial Assembly and was an advocate for the rights and freedom of the colonies, even though he did not initially think that separating from Britain was the best means to achieving that end. So Joseph Hewes, merchant patriot, began his life as a Quaker. Upon completion of his basic education, he was apprenticed in Philadelphia, started his own mercantile business. He amassed a small fortune. See, again, now this source, very different with the dates. This source says sometime between 1756 and 1763, he moved to Edenton, North Carolina, and established a thriving mercantile and shipping trade. His chosen town regarded him as one of the best and most agreeable men in the world, and the patron and the greatest honor of the town. In 1766, Hewes began a service as borough member of the Colonial Assembly, in which he continued until the royal government ended in 1775. In 1773, he was a member of the Committee of Correspondence and a delegate to all of the 5 provincial congresses. So a little bit about his genealogy. I always like to try to give you a little bit about that. Joseph Worth Hewes was born on January 23rd of 1730 and lived till November 10th of 1779. He was born at Maybury Hill on the outskirts of Princeton, New Jersey. He was the son of Aaron and Providence Worth Hewes. Aaron Hewes married, probably in the mid-1720s, Providence Worth, this is his parents, the will of Giles Worth of Windsor, Middlesex County, New Jersey, dated August 6th of 1739, names his mother Sarah Worth, 3 brothers and 4 sisters, one of whom was Providence. His executors were Elizabeth Worth, wife, and his brother-in-law Aaron Hewes. In 1754, Aaron Hewes was at Burlington, New Jersey, no township given. He paid taxes in 1788 and died in 1789. An entry from the diary of one Job Whitehall, November 24th of 1777, "Ye English soldiers all moved off this morning and left Woodbury. I walked to where they had their camp, and we found our big kettle, but not our little pot. Found the brown ox's hide belonging to father that they had killed, and took it to Aaron Hewes for him to tan for me. It weighed 50 pounds. An item from Notes on Old Gloucester County, New Jersey." Pretty interesting. This is an account from just some notes from September 25th of 1819. fixed boards to cousin James Cooper's grave, also new ones to Aaron Hewes' grave, those to the latter having been of red cedar, one decayed and been standing about 30 years. On July 10th of 1823, executors of Josiah Hewes' estate, who was the son of Aaron, another one of, I believe that was Joseph's brother, sold at auction the home and was bid off by Dr. Jeremiah Foster at $2,000, but stated its worth at $5,000. On December 5th of 1823, an entry states Aaron Hewes, deceased in 1789, now upwards of 34 years, refers to a book bought at auction from his personal estate. Edward Hewes was of Oldman's Creek, Salem County, New Jersey. His will was dated December 5th of 1739 and was proved on April 21st of 1741. His executors were his wife Hannah and brother James Hewes. He mentions sons James and Aaron Hewes. The Hewes family is supposed to have fled Indians in Connecticut. They came to New Jersey in 1728. So now I'll read from that source that I used from like the 1800s, the one that was written back in the 1800s. Joseph Hewes was born near Kingston in New Jersey in the year 1730. His parents were Aaron and Providence Hewes, who were members of the Society of Friends and who originally belonged to the colony of Connecticut. They were induced, however, to remove from New England on account of the prejudices which existed among the descendants of the Puritans against those who adopted the Quaker dress or professed the Quaker faith. At the period of their removal, many parts of New England were suffering from the frequent hostilities of the Indians, who, roving through the forests in their vicinity, often made sudden incursions upon the inhabitants of those colonies, and generally marked their route with the most shocking barbarities. The murderous spirit of the Indians was also, at this time, much inflamed by an act of the government of Massachusetts, which had increased the premium on Indian scalps and Indian prisoners to £100 for each. By way of retaliation, the Indians often made their incursions into the territory of Massachusetts and not infrequently extended their journeys among the inoffensive farmers of Connecticut. Hence, many of the latter, desirous of a more quiet and secure life, were induced to seek a permanent residence in the remoter parts of the country. Among those who thus fled from the annoyance of prejudice and from the deeper wrath of a savage foe were the parents of Joseph Hewes. But even in their flight, they narrowly escaped the death which they wished to avoid. On passing the Housatonic River, a party of the Indians came so nearly upon them that Mrs. Hewes was wounded in the neck by a ball shot from the gun of a savage. Notice, please, these words and the language they use here in this, source. We're talking about literally back in the 1800s, where it was okay to call Native Americans Indians, and it was okay to refer to them as savages. Obviously, things that are not so PC and accepted or, looked nicely upon in 2022. So please keep that in mind. In New Jersey, however, where they at length arrived, they found a peaceful and secure home. Here, sometime after their settlement, their son Joseph Hewes was born. Of the incidents of his younger days, we know but little. At a proper age, he became a member of Princeton College, from which, having graduated in due course, he was placed in the counting house of a gentleman at Philadelphia to be educated as a merchant. On leaving the counting house, of his employer, he entered into the mercantile business for himself and became an active and thrifty merchant. At the age of 30, he removed to North Carolina and settled in the village of Edenton. The same prosperity which had attended him at Philadelphia followed him to a more southern province, and in a few years he acquired a handsome fortune. Joseph Hewes, both before and after his removal to North Carolina, sustained the reputation of a man of probity and honor. He acquired the confidence and esteem of the people among whom he lived, and was soon called to represent them in the colonial legislature of the province. This distinction was conferred upon him for several successive years, with increasing usefulness to his constituents and increasing credit to himself. So another source now, Joseph Hewes was born in the vicinity of Princeton, New Jersey on January 23rd of 1730. His parents, Adam and Providence Worth Hewes, both Quakers, departed Connecticut hurriedly after some anti-Quaker laws were passed. And that's incorrect. It's not Adam Hewes, it's Aaron Hewes. So incorrect there. Their flight was quite hazardous due to hostile Indians along the route. They keep referring to him as Adam. I'll obviously correct that. When Aaron and his wife forded the Housatonic River, Indians in pursuit closed and fired upon them. Providence, the daughter of Joseph Worth, was wounded in the neck by musket fire, but she survived and the couple made it safely to New Jersey. There they established a farm at a place known as Maybury Hill. As a young man, Joseph was reared as a Quaker. However, his instincts for pleasures such as dancing and his propensity to defend liberty worked to dissuade him from being a pacifist. Joseph entered Princeton College. Following graduation, he entered an apprenticeship in nearby Philadelphia and afterward was employed with a mercantile business in that city. For a while, Joseph Hewes traveled back and forth to Philadelphia, gaining additional experience within the maritime industry, and he used that knowledge to begin his own shipping business. Later, Hewes settled in Edenton, North Carolina, where he became involved in shipping during 1760 and was able to succeed enormously in the endeavor to accumulate a large fortune. In the meantime, he entered politics. He was elected to the Provincial Assembly of North Carolina during 1766, 1 year after the Stamp Act was passed by Parliament, and he remained as a member of that body until the royal governor disbanded it during 1755. And last but not least, one last source here that I would like to read to you guys that I think is interesting because it kind of has, again, conflicting sort of information. I mean, not shocking, right? We hear nothing but conflicting information about these guys. It's so very interesting to me. I'm sure it is to you guys as well. It's crazy, all the different information that you see. So, here we go now. Let me read this last source to you. Joseph Hewes. Now, this source says that he was born on July 9th of 1730. And I can tell you without fail that is 100% incorrect. He definitely was born on January 23rd of 1730. So I think I just said 1792 with the July 9th. July 9th, 1730, this says, but that's incorrect. January 23rd, 1730 was when he was born. So Joseph Hewes was an American founding father, a signer of the Continental Association and U.S. Declaration of Independence, and a native of Princeton, New Jersey, where he was born in 1730. Joseph Hewes' parents were members of the Society of Friends, commonly known as Quakers. Early biographies of Hewes falsely claim that his parents came from Connecticut. Hewes may have attended the College of New Jersey, known today as Princeton University, but there is no record of his attendance. He did, in all probability, attend the grammar school set up by the Stony Brook Quaker meeting near Princeton. So see, this source says his parents didn't come from Connecticut, but this is the only source that says that. Every other source I read, and I'm talking like 5 or 6 other sources, they all say that his parents originally came from Connecticut. So I'm going to venture to guess that that's more accurate, that they truly did come from Connecticut to New Jersey. So Joseph Hewes was definitely born in New Jersey in Princeton at Maybury Hill, but his parents definitely came from Connecticut, I feel. So the mercantile business, about 1749 or 1750, Joseph Hewes moved to Philadelphia and joined Joseph Ogden's mercantile business at Chestnut and 2nd Street as an apprentice. Ogden was married to Hewes' first cousin, Jemima Hewes. Part of his apprenticeship had him traveling by cargo ship either with Ogden or one of his assistants known as a supercargo as they visited Boston, New York, Edenton, North Carolina, Charleston, and Tortola in the British Virgin Islands to buy and sell goods to other traders in those port cities. During this time in Philadelphia, Joseph Hewes attended Quaker meetings at the Arch Street Meeting House. Completing his apprenticeship, he determined that opportunities in the port in North Carolina at Edenton, a prospering, well-protected port town on a small bay on the north side of the Albemarle Sound he had visited while still apprenticed to Ogden, offered the best chance for his success. Joseph Hewes moved there in late 1754 and with Charles Blount formed Blount, Hewes & Company, and he soon became Edenton's leading merchant. In a 1772 letter to a friend, James Iredell said of Joseph Hewes, "There is a gentleman in this town who is a very particular favorite of mine, as indeed he is of everybody, for he is one of the best and most agreeable men in the world. His name is Mr. Hewes. He is a merchant here and our member for the town, indeed the patron and greatest honor of it. About 6 or 7 years ago, he was within a very few days of being married to one of Mr. Johnston's sisters, who died rather suddenly. In this unhappy circumstance, for a long time embittered every satisfaction in life to him. He has continued ever since unmarried." In 1763, Blount, Hewes & Company was dissolved. Joseph Hewes joined with a local attorney, Robert Smith, to form Hewes & Smith. In addition to the store at the northeast corner of Main and King, the firm possessed offices, 3 warehouses, a wharf and 5 ships, 3 sloops and 2 brigs. Joseph Hewes was also the personal owner of a ship repair and shipbuilding yard at the mouth of Pembroke Creek. In 1777, Joseph Hewes created a rope walk, a factory for braiding ropes, twine, hawsers, and cables to be used in the rigging of ships. It became one of the main suppliers of high-quality ropes and lines to the American shipping industry during the next decade. In 1757, Joseph Hewes was appointed Justice of the Peace for Edenton. In 1760, he was elected to the North Carolina Assembly, where he served on important committees involving finance and treasury. He remained in the Assembly until 1775. The Quaker historian Charles Francis Jenkins argued that Hewes remained a Quaker his entire life. As to Joseph Hewes, who had thrown off most of the outward observances of a member of meeting in good standing, the time has come to say whether he was or was not a friend. The answer is that he was a birthright member of Chesterfield, New Jersey monthly meeting, that he never resigned or was disowned, that he never formally connected himself with any other religious organization, and that when he died, his death was recorded in his old home meeting, showing that they at least regarded him as one among them. The claim that he never formally connected himself with another religious organization is contradicted by the records of St. Paul's Anglican Church in Edenton, North Carolina, where he served as a vestryman. There is some evidence that Hewes was a deist, someone who believes in the existence of a supreme being, specifically of a creator who does not intervene in the universe. The term is used chiefly of an intellectual movement of the 17th and 18th centuries that accepted the existence of a creator on the basis of reason, but rejected belief in a supernatural deity, who interacts with humankind. James Iredell wrote in his diary, "I took a walk with Mr. Hewes to his wharf and spent a happy afternoon with him afterwards at his own house. This gentleman I greatly love and respect, and I feel much concern that he has imbibed some prejudices which cannot stand the test of a fair inquiry, and which, if justly founded, would destroy the strongest ties of moral and social virtue, would render doubtful every rule of evidence that has been hitherto held certain, and would leave unconquerable difficulties in the room of those which only seem such for want of due attention or a competent knowledge of the subject. As a man and gentleman, possessed of an excellent understanding, blessed with a good heart, Mr. Hewes is deserving all the honor and respect universally shewn him. How happy am I being intimately connected with that family, which is admired by all the world for their improved minds, exemplary conduct, and agreeable deportment." Well, there you have it, guys. That's pretty much going to do it for this part one. But I have some very, very, very interesting and fun, exciting bonus footage for you here in this part one. So please stay tuned for part one's bonus footage, where I'm going to show you the birthplace and home of Joseph Hewes, the school where Joseph Hewes attended as a young man, and the meeting house that he was a member of here in New Jersey as a Quaker. I'm going to show you all of that. I'm also going to show you... No, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for part one bonus footage. Part two will have more bonus footage, of course. But part one, there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. The early look of the early life of Joseph Hewes, our second North Carolina signer, a native of my home state of New Jersey. So thanks so much, guys. Thank you for everything. Thanks for all the subscribes, the likes, the comments, the questions, all of it. Thank you so very much. And please stay tuned for the bonus footage, and stay tuned for part two tomorrow, where we're going to take a look at the rest of Joseph Hewes' life, legacy, and death, and of course gravesite in part two, like we always do here at Dead History. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much, guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now. Hey guys, how's it going? TJ here with Dead History, and I wanted to show you guys this. Let me bring it up here. So what this is this is actually the Johnston Family Cemetery. This is actually where Isabella Johnston is buried. Isabella Johnston was Joseph Hewes' fiancée, as we know. So the Johnston family plantation, I think it's also known as the Hayes family plantation, that was in Edenton. As you can see, here's North Carolina. There's Edenton. It sits right on these rivers. I think it's maybe like the Albemarle River, and it looks like there's like the Roanoke River dumps into this. You know, a bunch of different things. I'm trying to think. Yep, this is the Albemarle Sound. So, and then this river looks like it's the Showan River. So they all kind of like dump in here. Now, the exact location, or these coordinates here, this is where the family cemetery is. Now, Samuel Johnston, who of course was governor of North Carolina, we learned, that was her brother. He's buried in here as well. So this is the Johnston. So I'm assuming the cemetery, the plantation was all this land out here. Probably actually right here is where that looks like it's the old plantation or farm. Unfortunately, we cannot get any closer. There's no street data available. Let me see if I can actually pause this real quick. I cannot. Because what I want to do, let me see here. So Johnston Family Cemetery. Here we go. So here we go. The memorials in the Johnston Family Cemetery. You can see there's a lot of people here. The Hosmers. James Iredell is actually there, which is pretty crazy. He's another one that's actually there. And then Samuel Johnston, that was her brother. And as you can see, Isabella Johnston. Now, Samuel Johnston's grave, that's shown. That's here. You can see pictures. That's his, headstone. We'll look at James Iredell. His grave site is also in here. And Johnston Family Cemetery. So you see it's just this like gated little private family cemetery. So James Iredell is in here. Samuel Johnston's in here. It is in Edenton, also known, as you see here, as the Hewes Plantation Cemetery. Now, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to see Cemetery, Edenton, North Carolina. Let's see if I can find anything. Ooh, here we go. The Hewes Plantation. Does it let me do any sort of like street view? Probably not if I had to guess. Let's do directions. Let's see what happens here. No. And as you can see, the Johnston Family Cemetery, it's right there. All it does is give me this. It doesn't give me any sort of a street view. Doesn't let me at all, actually. Nope, it does not. So the Hewes Plantation. See if I can get some images up here. Here you go. This is what it looks like, of course. This is, and then you can see there's the family cemetery. So this is where, and that's the Hewes Family Plantation. You can see the pictures here. I'll show pictures when I after I'm done with this little video. But there you go, guys. In this cemetery, I do not have a grave site photo of Isabella Johnston because there actually is none. As a matter of fact, who knows? Her grave may be, unlegible, or I should say illegible. You might not even be able to read it anymore. I don't know. I've never been here, unfortunately. See, this is the sad part and the unfortunate part of my travels. In 2020, when I was doing all my traveling, seeing all the presidents and vice presidents and declaration signers, and I never in a million years thought I was going to start a YouTube channel and be doing videos about all these people, or else I would have, of course, visited a site like this. But unfortunately, I did not. So I will one day. I'll get down there and see it one day, but I have not seen it. But I just wanted to show you guys that. The Johnston Family Cemetery there in Edenton, North Carolina. There's kind of a picture of the outside of it right there too. Gated. Pretty cool stuff. But that is where Isabella Johnston, Joseph Hewes' fiance who died before they were married, that is where she is buried. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little information. guys, how's it going? TJ here with Dead History, and I am actually in Princeton, New Jersey, and let me flip you around and show you where I'm at. That right there is Maybury Hill, where Joseph Hewes, signer of the Declaration of Independence, was born. And as a matter of fact, there's a historical marker right here. Let me try to get it so that you can see it. Joseph Hewes, born here 1730. He later moved to North Carolina. He signed the Declaration of Independence for that state in 1776. But there you go, Maybury Hill. Actually, I'll probably be able to walk on this road. It doesn't seem too busy. But it is a private residence. But you can see right here, Maybury Hill. Very, very cool. But there you go, guys. Joseph Hewes was born here. I don't remember the exact year. If I had to guess, it was probably, because I think he was about in his mid-30s, maybe late 30s when he signed the Declaration. So if I had to guess, it was probably 1740, maybe mid-1730s. You see here, property has been placed on the National Historical Register of Historic Places. So yeah, it's probably, I would say, mid-1730s or maybe early 1740s sometime when he was born, but he was born here. This is a beautiful property, as you can see. Like I said, it is a private residence, so it's not open to the public. Obviously, judging by the Christmas wreath on the door, I would assume that people do live here, of course. So it's quite spectacular, though. So looks like there's a beautiful garden over here, I'm sure, in the spring and summertime. So there you go, guys. Maybury Hill, the site and place of birth, the birthplace of Joseph Hewes here in Princeton, New Jersey. Very, very cool stuff. Very happy to bring this to you on this beautiful December morning. And there you go, guys. I'll let you guys know. I'm sure this will probably be in bonus footage, so I'm sure I've already let you guys know. But he lived here, obviously, for a good portion of his life as well. He wasn't just born here. I'm pretty sure he lived here for quite a long time as well. So pretty cool stuff. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Maybury Hill, Joseph Hewes. Hey guys, how's it going? So that is the Stony Brook Meeting House. Let me flip you guys around here. So this is the Stony Brook Meeting House here in Princeton. There's the cemetery that I showed you that his father Aaron Hewes is in. It's right next to it. So Joseph Hewes actually maintained his membership here at the Stony Brook Meeting House until the end of his life. Whoop, sorry about that, guys. I almost dropped the phone, my bad. So Joseph Hewes was definitely a member here at the Stony Brook Meeting House. Now, I don't know if it's this building that also was a school at one point, and that's the school that Joseph Hewes attended. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm going to do a little further research. But there you go. Stony Brook Meeting House here in Princeton. Joseph Hewes was definitely a member here until the end of his life. So pretty cool stuff. Just wanted to kind of show you guys this right next to the cemetery here. Now there's other buildings over here. They don't look nearly as old. And of course that's like a newer visitor center type thing. I think it's actually even like a meeting house in there. So this is definitely the old building here. So I think this is also the school where he went, but I'm going to double check. Thanks, guys.